not only am an American who moved to South Africa 4 years ago now, I have now become a Capetonian, if you ask me. A lot of them say I'm Capetonian. I look like a colored. I look like a colored. That's right. Guys, where's the lie? I look like a colored. I look like a colored from South Africa. That is the culture here, the community, the race, well, the settlers that classified it into a race, but that's pretty much what it is here. And I look like a colored, so it's okay. And colored being spelled with the U rather than colored, it does make a difference. And when you kind of expect to be in a different country where the community is classifying you as something, I'm pretty much a hot commodity. I'm high demand. Anywhere I go, I look like their culture. Mexico, I look Latina. I live in America, I look Latina. They think I'm Latina. So it doesn't matter what I do. If I go to Brazilian, I look like one of them. When you're mixed, you look like whatever that community is, that culture is. And so in my situation, I am part of the colored South African community. But I'm learning Xhosa. And I'm also learning Afrikaans. Let me make that clear, because a lot of the colors are like, look, you need to learn Afrikaans. Goedemorgen. I'm learning my things, you know what I mean? Like, I know them. I don't use them as much, but, it's all in who you're around, who's able to teach you on a consistent basis. So right now, like I said, I have some Xhosa people who are giving me a little bit of a lesson, and I'm enjoying it all. And look, if I had Zulu or Sotho or any other language around, I would learn that too, because it's part of South Africa. And anywhere I move, I hope to learn the language there too. But in the meantime, I look like a colored. And my Americans are slowly learning from Tyler that colored is not just our derogatory word. Yes, it is a classification that we were also given over hundreds of years. Here, it became more classified in the most recent times. So it became something that the community embraced. Unfortunately, a lot of them have let go of the Khoisan background that they may have, just because it just faded out. Not because they don't want it, but because maybe it's just not talked about or, discussed within their family, ancestral, generational discussions. That's their prerogative. But when you're somewhere in another country, you respect whatever they are. And I respect the community of the colored community. And if they are to change that because it is a classification, there was a point where when I moved here, I felt sad, because it was like, but what is your depth? Who are you mixed with? What is that? Back in America, light skin black is like, well, what else are you? That's what they want to know. What else are you? It could be Caucasian, it could be Native American, it could be Latina, it could be anything, Indonesian, it could be anything. I'm just saying a few of the small little pieces. Asian, I've gotten Asian. Filipino. There's just so much that we have that people want to say, no, but you look more like this, you look more like that. Back in America, I grew up, they all thought I was Filipino because I had all Filipino friends, and the family just thought I blended in with them, so I was Filipino. Here, I run into coloreds who I swear look like some of my Filipino friends, and they're like, no, I'm just colored. So it can be something that, if more dug into the depth of what colored is defined, that can be a conversation in itself, and maybe there'll be a breakthrough. But in the meantime, it is a culture. It is a community that lives here and is proud of who they are as a community. Necessarily the name, maybe that will change, but I'm always told I look like a colored. So I'm just going with, I look like a colored, and it's okay, because it's not the derogatory meaning that we as Americans are used to here. If you say that back home, don't speak it unless you are Tyler and you came from South Africa. That's all you're gonna get. I actually do not take it at any offense now that I've traveled and know that colored is a culture and a race. So my fellow Americans have yet to experience South Africa in that way, because we carry it as a more derogatory word based on our history. But that's not everywhere. And so moving here, I've actually embraced it in such a different way. Because back home in America, if you're black, if you got this much black, if you were raised by a white mom and you got this much black and your whole family is culturally, more of a Caucasian culture, but you got this much black, the African Americans will say, you better represent black. You better say you are black because you got a drop of black, so you black, represent. That's our culture. That's how we've been proud of who we are, who we stand for. And in the South African culture, it's just different because you guys have been separated by black, colored, white, and that's a colonial thing. I mean, Caucasian white's a whole different thing, but colored and black, that's a colonial thing. And you can't change what's happened in the past, but once we educate ourselves, we know better and we can accept things better. So once a lot of my fellow Americans travel a little bit more around the world, they'll kind of accept what Tyla is saying, because she's not wrong, but it's just the sound of her saying, I'm not black. That just sounds crazy to us Americans, but it's not what she's saying, because colored is mixed with black in most cases. I won't say all. In most cases. It's just the light-skinned version of me. That's basically like me. Everyone asks, what are you mixed with? And you just mix with a whole bunch of other stuff. You know what I mean?